Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Heini. I'm Heini, and this week I'm going to take you through a practice to counteract sitting. So if you've been sitting for a long day, or maybe you're sitting right now, jump off the chair, come onto a mat, and let's do a short practice together. Let's get started. For this week's practice, a block or something similar would be a really handy prop. We'll use that towards the end of the practice. But first, just as I said, we're going to counteract sitting. We're going to start the practice from a seat, but if you're in a chair, please come to sit on the floor. Come sit on a mat in a cross-legged seat. And here, you could sit on a block if you find that sitting on the floor doesn't suit your hips or back. So you could sit on an edge of a block as well. Just as long as you find an easy cross-legged seat and bring hands onto the knees. Take a slightly deeper breath in and out. And then we start to circle the chest, allowing movement in the spine, allowing movement in the shoulders, and also allowing movement in the hips. So let your pelvis move, a bit like moving the weight from one buttock to the other. Let's do one more circle this way, and then change the direction. We go a few times the other way around. And really let the whole spine, from your neck down to the tail, to move. And let the breaths keep flowing in and out. Let's do one more circle. And then bring your spine back to center. And then we're going to come onto all fours, onto hands and knees. Or if you prefer, you could do these next movements on elbows as well. If you feel the wrists, hands are a bit sensitive now, you could also come down onto elbows. And from here, lengthen your right leg behind you, and then slowly start to rock forward and back. So moving the weight from hands towards that right foot. Just gently opening the right calf, getting a bit of movement into the ankle. Another round, forward and back. And then bring yourself back to the center. Leave the right leg extended, and now cross that right leg towards the left side of the mat, coming into a slight side bend. With the next exhalation, you could look over your left shoulder towards that right foot and maybe slightly lean the pelvis towards the right side. And you might continue a bit of rocking movement here as well. Couple more breaths in and out. So we're opening that right side body. And then bring that right leg back to center. And then continue sliding the right leg over to the right side of the mat. So now we start to look for a bit of opening in that right inner thigh, maybe going to the hamstrings as well as we continue rocking movement. So shifting weight towards the back of the mat and then moving the weight back towards the hands. Same again, shifting weight towards that left foot, kind of pelvis, reaching or leaning towards the left foot, and then back to the hands. Once more. See how far you want to go, and then come back to the center. And we still leave that right leg out to the side, And now leave your right hand on the mat. As you inhale, reach left arm up, twisting to the left. And then exhale, slide that left arm under the right arm. And lean your left shoulder, lean your head onto the mat, coming into a twist. You could either leave your right hand or fingertips on the mat, or if you want, you could reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, or maybe bring the right arm behind the back, but twisting out to the right side. Couple of breaths here, in and out. You might still feel quite a big stretch around that right leg as well. And then slowly bring the right hand back on the mat if you have it somewhere behind the back. And lift yourself back onto both hands. Release that right knee back onto the mat. And a few times rock from side to side, from hand to hand, from knee to knee. And then, before we do all that to other side, lean the pelvis back into child's pose for a moment. And you could leave your arms overhead. Maybe, if it feels okay, lift hands onto fingertips, allowing the wrists to bend the other way. Maybe you've been typing a lot, maybe you've been sitting on the computer, so there's a very nice movement for the hands, for the wrists to counteract that as well. Take another breath in and out. We call these the cupcake hands. And then slowly spread the palms back on the mat. Come back onto hands and knees. And then we'll go through those movements, those poses on the other side. So now on all fours, lengthen the left leg behind you. And we go back to that rocking movement. So shifting the weight from hands towards the left foot, just slightly pumping into the ankle, into the calf. Keep hands, keep fingers active here. So we're not collapsing into the wrist joints. And then bring yourself to center. And then cross that left leg, that left foot towards the right side of the mat. Coming into that side bend. As you exhale, look slightly over the right shoulder towards the left foot. And then breathe here. Or again, you could start to rock forward and back a bit if you want. If neck gets really tense, don't force the head. You could also soften the neck back to center. Couple more breaths in and out. So opening now the left side body here. Good, and then come back to the center and continue sliding the left leg out to the left side of the mat. We'll come into that thread the needle twist, but again, first some rocking forward and back. So now lean the pelvis towards the right foot, opening into that left inner thigh, left hamstring, and then shift the weight back forward. Couple of times in your own pace, leaning the pelvis back. Keep breathing all the time. Come back onto the hands. Let's do that once more. And then bring yourself to center and leave the left leg still out on the side. Leave your left hand on the mat. And then inhale, reach the right arm up, twisting to the right side. And exhale, slide the right arm under the left. You can lean the shoulder, you can lean the head on the mat. And here we are turning the chest now over to left side. If you want, you can reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Or you could release the left arm also behind the back. And breathe in and out. Few breaths. Keep shoulders gently active so you're not collapsed on the shoulders or neck. One more breath in and out. And then bring that left hand back on the mat. Lift yourself onto both hands. Release the left knee back onto the mat. And then walk hands further forward, coming into the melting heart pose. So we leave the pelvis about on top of the knees. And then exhale, release the chest down. If you start to feel it's really strong in the shoulders now, bend the elbows. You could bring hands to opposite elbows. You could lean the head down and breathe here. So the intention is to release the chest down, coming into a back bend and open the shoulders away from that hunched position. Couple more breaths in and out. And then a bit of core activation. Lift the chest away from the mat. Bring hands back onto the mat. And then from all fours, bring yourself into a seat. And to lie down on the back. And this is where the block would now be quite useful. So when you come lie down on the back, bring your block with you. So it's somewhere where you can easily reach for the block. And come lie down on your back with knees bent. From here, we'll come into a bridge pose and then a reclining dragon. First, as you exhale, press your feet down onto the mat and lift your pelvis off the mat, lift the back off the mat, opening the front line. And stay here a few breaths. Active opening for the front line. Opening for the chest. Both feet actively pressing down. Take another breath in and out. Go only so far up that you don't feel pain in the back. And then reach for the block and bring your block under the pelvis. You could have it as a low block or you can turn it sideways, depending on where you feel it's not hurting in the back when you lower your pelvis down onto that support. And now just slight activation through the core. So we're not going to collapse into the back. Reclining dragon. Hug your right knee in towards the chest. And maybe this is already enough to create an opening in the front of the left hip or back of the right thigh. Or if you want, slowly slide that left leg lower down, keeping the heel on the mat and keeping that subtle activation through the core. And that might create a bigger opening around that hip flexor area, maybe the front of the left thigh. And breathe in and out. We'll try to soften the shoulders as much as possible, although we are using the hands and arms. Take another breath in and out. And then if you have that left leg extended, slowly bend the knee, bring the foot back onto the mat. Lower the right foot down, so we're back in that supported bridge. And then we'll just change legs the other way around. So now bring left knee towards the chest. And again, this might be plenty enough. You don't have to go any further than this. Or keeping core gently active, start to slide the right heel, the right foot along the mat. So we don't want to collapse into the back. That subtle kind of drawing in through the belly. And breathing in and out. Keep the breath flowing. Couple more breaths here. Again, if you notice arms are too tense, like I'm noticing now, just soften the arms, shoulders as much as you can. And then, if you have the right leg extended, bend your right knee, bring the right foot onto the mat. Lower the left foot down. And then exhale, lift your pelvis off the block and slide the block aside so that you can bring your pelvis, your back onto the mat. And a few times swing the knees, swing the legs from side to side, windshield wipers, so allowing one more twist in the spine, in the hips. You could also rock your head from side to side if you feel there's tension in the neck. Good. And from here you could either continue into Shavasana pose. If you feel that you now have time, you can extend your practice, you can stay lying down. Or if this is something you're doing in the middle of the day, if you want to end the practice here, just hug the knees in and a few times rock yourself forward and back, bringing yourself up into a seat to close the practice. Check in, take a couple more breaths in and out. You could roll the shoulders. Maybe mentally prepare yourself to go back sitting at the desk. At the same time, thank yourself for taking this time to look after yourself, counteract sitting. And I thank you very much for joining in. I wish you a wonderful day after this. Namaste. Good. Thank you so much for joining in. I really hope you enjoyed the practice. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and also leave a comment below. Let me know how this practice went for you. And if you know that there's anyone who might need this practice, maybe someone who sits a lot, please share the video with them. It really helps the channel to grow. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.